Hi everybody, my name's Lily and I'm the book reviewer behind Utopia State of Mind, and today I'm going to chat about Bunny. I have my velvet blessed. I have my velvet vest, I have my jewelry, I have try to bring off the bunny aesthetic, and I have interesting mixed thoughts about Bunny. So basically, let's just start off with the things I liked. I've been seeing Bunny everywhere, and I think it's mostly because the sequel is coming out this year to Bunny. We Love Bunny, I think is what it's called. And so I've been seeing this everywhere recently, and I remember seeing this around when it first released, and I was kind of like, what is this, right? Because all you really see from the cover is just a bunny. And I will say, Bunny to me was not what I expected. It leans more horror esque than I thought it was going to be. And to me, what I really liked about it the most were the themes of friendship, and also the themes of being clique-ish, like being having this in-group out-group mentality. I think that it really sums up friendship in those kinds of elements, where you have this kind of desperate desire to be accepted into an in-group. It to me felt a little bit like Mean Girls in that sense. And so that was probably my favorite aspect, was the exploration of friendship, but also it has kind of this in-group mentality with these bunny people. Read the synopsis before, I guess, listening to this video, but the bunny people who are super popular people. And then she has a best friend who they're kind of not in the bunny group, obviously, and they make fun of the bunny group. But then what I actually wanted more at the end was more explanation or exploration of that relationship in comparison. We see it a lot, or we see it a bit more, but I wanted it more. Like, I liked the friendship aspect, but I think the friendship exploration could have been pushed further, I guess. So I like that one, but there's a caveat. One of the things that I found the most disconcerting about Bunny was the reading experience. So for me, towards the middle to latter end, it kind of becomes this surrealist experience in which you're really not sure what's happening and what's not happening. So if you like unreliable narrators, Bunny is probably for you. But for me, it was like kind of walking into this sort of hazy room, this hazy experience where to some point, to some degree, it's intriguing and it's interesting, and you're kind of like, what's going on? Do I really think what's going on is happening? What really happened? But at the same time, there's a very thin line between that and it just being too hazy to hold on to like what is happening, to hold on to what's happening and to kind of figure out what the point is. And I think that the author is really playing with this line. And for me, too many of the experiences pushed me over the line to the point where at the end, it was like I was reading it, I wasn't really understanding it, and so maybe I don't have enough brain cells, but for me, I was kind of like, it feels like it's slipping out of my grasp. It feels like it is becoming something that I too much don't know what's happening to really enjoy it and understand it and intellectually admire it. So that was the experience for me, almost like holding on to a live wriggling bunny where you're kind of like, you lost it. That was kind of my experience reading Bunny, and I do think that towards the end, a lot of the really interesting foundational points, I really, really enjoyed the first 25, even maybe the first third. I really enjoyed looking at the bunnies from the outside, looking at the main character's relationship with her best friend, looking at her past as well, and her experience in academia. And so I enjoyed that, and then it kind of lost the plot for me. It just kind of got to a point where by the end I'm kind of like, I don't even know what really truly happened. And while on one level that's intriguing, most of me is kind of like, what? Ironically though, the synopsis for the second book, We Love Bunny, looks really good. I'm excited about that because it's going to be talking about the bunnier, more of the bunny perspective, I guess. And I'm intrigued by that because I also wish there had been more depth of the side characters in general in Bunny, mostly the best friend, but also the bunnies. And so I'm hoping that We Love Bunny is kind of the depth I'm looking for in that. I would also say that I had seen some people talk about the academia element in Bunny. I would say it's not super, super strong. If you think about the academia element, for example, in The Secret History, to me, that's similar to it in the fact that, like, it's on a college campus. People sometimes go to classes, seemingly never do their homework. And it's in that vibe, but it's not really deeply exploring academia necessarily. I think it looks a little bit about the exploitation and the power dynamics between that. It's also taking place in an MFA program. And so everything was the things that I wasn't sure about felt shallow and sort of I wish they went more. And the things that I enjoyed, I still wish they went more. I don't know if it was the length of Bunny. I don't know if it was because they were trying to get into this point where it felt kind of like you were on some sort of trip and you didn't know where you were going. But I read it and I was kind of like, either I've completely missed the point or this is the point. So yeah, I wanted to give my thoughts about Bunny because I've seen this everywhere, but I obviously did want to say that I am going to read the sequel when it comes out, funnily enough. And so I like this idea of doing kind of reviews on really hyped stuff because I'm going to be filming another really hyped review. And in April, kind of the hyped books that I read let me down severely. And so I think that it's worth noting, especially for things that are further on. I've talked a lot about Shatter Me, specifically on the blog, a lot about Shatter Me and the hype and sort of products or books being a product of that specific moment of time, which makes a lot of sense. And sometimes wondering if we've surpassed that moment of time. If you're interested in that, I'm going to talk about that a lot in a future, or I guess past video at this point, because I'm filming things not chronologically, but you will have seen me talk about that in Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell, which I will link below. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about Bunny, and I think it's interesting because I've missed the boat on the Bunny hype when it first came out. So maybe this is kind of a series where I talk about things where I've just missed the bandwagon at that point, and do they lead up or do they match up to the hype that I've seen surrounding it on the internet? I hope you have a really great rest of your reading day, week, month, and year, and I will see you in the next video.